The nature reserve is slowly disappearing. Ask the magician under Rich. How much time do we have? He replied 10-55 later. The element in the sediment will completely dissipate. And Nicola heard this. Both of them were extremely surprised. Nicola stuttered 10-55 later. The so-called people of the 5 great families will attack Sao. Mr. Under Rich Food replied. No, it's worse than you think. Along with the dissipation of the deposition element, if I'm not mistaken, their power has gradually penetrated into the depression of the colony. Now you only have 2 choices. One is to raise other forces. Join them to fight the enemy. 2 is to let the sedimentation element dissipate. Will vanish into a cloud of smoke under the armies of the 5 great families, is a Ming army that I recognized as exiled. You know how to choose, right? Right now, laughing a little, I didn't choose. And Rich hear this answer. Then I was surprised. What Save the Title confidently confirmed. The Han dynasty never gave in. Others will not either. Destroyed and destroyed, for 15 years. Enough for us to develop tremendous power. Against the outside enemy. Ender sighed and said it was simple. But it's not easy. At this point, he suddenly stood up and said, for the Han dynasty, now say, against their infiltration. There's a little space. Just enough time in the military. Science and technology of Han dynasty will grow rapidly. Under Zix tried to exhort your majesty. Elemental power is very strong. Open the window with your hand. Let the sun shine in. He turned back in the light to show that he knew. Elemental power can be very powerful. It's so strong that we can't stand it now. We rely on modern science and technology. Complete just enough time. Increase the power of science and technology. It's absolutely antithetical to the element. Even if there are 15, there's no protection of the colony sediment. I can still lead people here. Don't charge any price. Against the 5 great clans. The other side now. In the Tozola Empire, in that building. Gloom gas emits. Inside the building, Prince Oliver was strangled. Mouth stuffed feeding something bizarre. He kept trying to resist, but didn't make a name for himself. Detective Julius Yes. The rope tightened the prince's neck and threatened him. Don't struggle anymore. Eat quickly, Prince Oliver tried to shake. But it can only be accepted in the end, swallowing the black drug, Kier. The rope's edge gritted its teeth and told it to eat. It can be a glorious instrument of the family. Julius after the prince finished swallowing. He just let go of his hand and made him fall to the ground. He sighed for an hour. Hands full of hate say. I've finally dealt with one more. It's annoying. Before the main army of the family arrived. We must use the reality of evil to take power. Control all the higher levels of the new kingdom. Time to give us not much. In his room, the Emperor Toyota. Black stood up and banged his hands on the table. It's impossible. The financial minister is very loyal to me. Why is he lying? Self-proclaimed National Treasury fragrant instigating polytechnics. Nad also reported further stress. It's not just the finance minister. The defense minister also said he wanted to quit. Make the army break apart. Prince Chalice also exposed her own private life. Something bad happened in the square, causing public outrage. Listen to this news. King Black couldn't help but tremble. He claims this is not a coincidence. They're not crazy. There is someone behind it. When you hear that, you are speculating. A few days ago, detectives report to the news. The Fabro Kingdom is in chaos. The Black Army immediately gave orders. There's no time for hesitation. NAD. They all recorded the people who were in trouble to investigate the traces of their actions. It's the same thing to investigate. The deer heard the order and immediately executed it. Just at this moment, a cold smile came up. Look not out. Even a dog like you has a mind. Name GG. I don't know when I stood at the door. When I saw him, I asked him who he was. You dare enter the palace. Piang Black is on alert to draw a reminder. If we're not wrong about who we're looking for. I found the door myself. He shouted to ask. What have you done to my people and my death? Girl 2, shrugging her shoulders in a sarcastic voice. Master King Black is the best. It is an immortal name. The atmosphere is so scary. Let's make them peaceful. It's easier to listen to. Black stared at him with his sword. Ledges stuffed with laughter. He snapped a question. If you are curious, let me see. To what extent our new toy listens? Behind him came a shadow. He gave the order to kill. Black Shadow, the sword rushed to King Black. He immediately stopped it with his sword. But after looking closely at the shadow in front of you, the national defense is not surprised to exclaim Olympic. God damn it, Olympic, wake up. The Olympic prince is now out of control. Two wild, cool red eyes. National Fang Black shouted angrily. What the fuck did you do at the Olympics? The Olympic prince didn't notice. You keep losing control. Rise to attack in utter amazement. Reflected from the king's countenance. Gigi also gently brushed the hand to beat down Nader. He laughed and said it was interesting today. I just came to say hello first. How much longer the kingdom of Tazilla will fall under my control? Let's have fun with you and your toys. See you next time. It's the day that Tazilla 7 is waiting. When he finished, he left. King Black is fighting Prince Oliver. I can't help but get angry and swear. He immediately swung his sword. He dropped Olympic's sword on the ground, and then directly knocked out the prince. A moment later, the king's men came to take the prince away. The king ordered her to be dragged down to calm her down. After the arrangement is done, King Black nervously tells Nather. You go to work yourself. It is imperative to investigate thoroughly all the intelligence on this guy. Nather immediately received the order. Outside the murky sky below. But the scream of urgency is over there. The Kier 6 control should still be nearby. The G-Leash is now standing in a small corner looking down. He laughed scornfully, sarcastically. What a waste. A bunch. It's like FLIs flying around aimlessly. The animal next to him asked. Ledge is the lower. Our people. It's on Black side. Why not deal with him directly? Ledge is glancing down. He said he was in no hurry. I want to keep it working. We need a complete Tojola kingdom. Give to my family. Somewhere else. The pigeon was released day and night. The secret of the Han dynasty is about to change. High Exile Feng, your majesty can quickly find out about Tazilla. Soon there is preparation. Just finished. A scene of blood echoing red and white feathers. For spying, I can't believe there's a person behind me. He swung his sword in the blink of an eye in his amazement. What is it? A slashing sword. Red blood shot up. He just wiped the blood off his face and said. It was almost exposed. No wonder for so many years. Not a little progress. What a waste. You said no one else. It's the main branch of the Julia Dennis family. and Rich once again opened his eyes to wonder. No need to light a fire. It doesn't use the element of energy. Could have given off such a light. It's magical. It's so warm. This is the warm air generator I saw before. We can finally get close to the research. It's amazing. The power genius is so great. Take a box and go in. He was overreacting and asked the guard at the door. But today, he is always in this state, SAO. The guard said yes. His Majesty, Mr. Underek. We're fascinated by our science and technology products. I can't get out. Laugh when you hear that. Then he knocked on the door and asked under Rich. Is it comfortable to live in the Han Dynasty these days? And Rich is happy to see you. Your Majesty, you are here. It's really opened my eyes these days. Turns out in this world, there are these weird things. Thank you, Your Majesty, for being so generous. Humility at your fingertips. Dare not dare. I came here today mainly to. Before he could finish speaking, he and Rich, his eyes sparkled. Maybe there's a new science and technology product. Du Feng answered correctly. This is a treasure. I'm sure he'll like you. Didn't know that? Behind me, a strange light came out. Fortunately, you and Rich found out in time. I shouted a reminder. Your Majesty, be careful. There was a loud explosion coming from the room. Black smoke etching wind. The guards outside couldn't escape. Explosion, SAO, Your Majesty. The city is surrounded by black smoke. He kept coughing and telling me not to. What happened to this explosion? In the question, a strange voice coming out under Rich. You're a useless man. That person is a magician with pink hair. On the handle of magic wand and magic orb. He shouted questioning. It's just according to the Kai label element exploration plan. One not seen back. I thought you were dead in the field. Underzik's red eyes yelling at the Zensi. You almost. Destroying new science and technology that I haven't studied. I risked my life with you. The two shamans rushed into a dusty bag fight. The exile outside helplessly advised AI Ra. Should you two stop for a second? I need someone to explain what the situation is. After a while, the two wizards made peace. In the clad living room, Master Zen holds up a cup of tea. Let it cool down and say, it turned out that way in the end. It's because his mood is unstable. Fascinated by what's called science and technology. Forgetting time. We don't even have time to spread the news about this. It is clear that your practice is not enough. Android heard that angry rebuttal. The old man, doesn't he understand the situation? Science and technology of Han Dynasty. It's the most magical power I've ever encountered in my life. It's not just that. I've also discovered here a female witch. Extremely endowed. Here the Taozensi is astonished to ask again here. In the silence of this land, SAO, and Rich is not wrong. Taozensi is interested in that. Then I must meet again. Where is she? You and Rich have the opportunity to laugh. They say I don't practice enough. You are not. I can't get through the door of curiosity. So you two get a chance to fight. He asked me a question, a quarrel. He said what I'm curious about is orthodox. The wizard. It's not a pagan cult. You dare say that science and technology is a heathen cult. I sit in the middle of a helplessness. Hey guys, just calm down. Ellie woke up this morning. Hear that? You both stop moving and look at him. She added, I went to see her soon. She must be here by now. Ellie's shadow loomed outside the door and came in. She blushed and asked the young master who called me. The two wizards saw you for an hour. Mr. Gen Shi excitedly exclaimed. It's just impossible to believe the Kailan sediment. Not expected could have that much elemental power. This is 1,000-year-old who only met once. The power of her certain can be judged as a high-level wizard. Ellie wondered if my master changed SAO. I don't really feel anything special. Not like before. She took her little hand and explained. You become stronger. The machine I brought back can also be checked. In your body. There's a new energy flow. Maybe it's our secret weapon now. Mr. Tuzensi especially praised, of course. This girl's potential is enormous. If I'm not mistaken. Little girl now. At least a second-level wizard's level. Ellie heard that and opened her eyes wide and asked the second level. Level 2, very high SAO. Android wizard, said very high. Although I don't want to admit, but this old man and I practiced for many years, becoming a bomb magician. Rare in the world. It's like you just woke up and reached level 2. I've only met once in 1,000 years, Tuzensi. Your gift is so unique. Absolutely do not waste. He said he took out a strange machine. This is an element detector. Do you want to check here? Ellie asked this how to check. Mr. Gensi, bring the machine closer and guide me to this place. Ellie did as she was told. The machine made a loud noise. Makes you roll your eyes. And then there was an explosion in the room. The smoke was rising. When the smoke was gone, Ellie coughed and scolded. What the fuck is your machine? You know how to explode. Is that possible, Mr. and Rich? Unexpected passed the test value. It must be because he's greedy. Just bought a poor quality product. Tazen C rebutted the talk casually. There's got to be a problem somewhere. I'll send a new one right away. And Rich suddenly turned to the wind. That's right, Your Majesty. The new mystical product you brought before. Can you show me quickly? He then pulled back the box before. I forgot if I told you not to. This needs to be given to you at the right time. He opened the box and took out the contents and showed them to Theo. A cell phone is a phone. I saw it, and Rich eyes immediately glowed. CNC doesn't understand anything. They both took their phones and studied. Tozen C, pointing hand, asked, It's magical. It turns out you've been working on these things these days. Ellie and Ellie left together. I wonder if these two have always been like this. You answered, Well, here's another fall. I'm used to being told. Save the wind to say goodbye. So you two study slowly. If there is anything new, I will continue to bring it. Two wizards playing with their phones. No one's paying attention to you. The two glowing eyes exchanged themselves. What is this? The screen lit up, and if you need a press, you can change. Make a sound. There are people inside. That person is moving. What magic is this? Save the wind and close the door. Your face immediately dropped. He ordered the guards to send more guards. Take a good look at the two of them. The guards immediately take orders. Give him another piece of equipment to find out. This is a tape recorder. Recorded the two old men's conversations for 24 hours. Give it to the Research Institute. Let them quickly analyze. The guard immediately obeyed and understood, Your Majesty. Eyes full of determination to think. Because of our Han dynasty. Elemental power in their words. I definitely need to find out. At the seaport of High Deem, the snow blew through the cold. The voice of the urge. Get a boat to the port and help. Guard, afraid to hug his frozen friend Kevin. And panicked Kevin. He knew 3 looked at this situation and immediately calmed down. Unexpected, you've also encountered a cold wave. Don't panic. I'll contact your majesty immediately. Move into GA police ship. Cow 3 is a very slow reminder. A little stability. This is the fastest steam train of the Han dynasty. It can definitely arrive in time. After the arrangements are made, water-damaged ship immediately moves in the storm wind. Kevin was soon taken to the capital. I was worried about asking him how he was. Can it be cured? After considering the situation, and Rich has just performed the magic of. I just said no, wrong is elemental power. Tozensi frowned and said, watch out, the sediment is indeed starting to wake up. After a while Anderkild turned to reassure the exile. I'm going to remove the element of ice from him. Just take a few days off. He can recover. If you listen to that, it is good to breathe. Your Highness, comes close to you to remind you of your honor. The president's element is coming. This situation will become more and more serious the next day. Where will the Han dynasty go? It's time to make a decision. I didn't answer at the door. I panicked and ran to the boy. If you see that, turn around. Before you go, you apologize. I'm leaving for a second, and Kevin's bothering you. He's Eigen Shi. Don't worry, your majesty. Out to the door, he immediately grabbed his coat and said, Master, I know not to bother you. But comfort me, don't panic. What's going on here? Crying and telling. I just got a call from my father. Mermaid headquarters suffered heavy damage. I can't help but frown upon something. Me leader, recount the situation. The sea in many areas is frozen. The people have no place to hide. Some people can't escape. It's frozen with the ocean. Young man, I know how now. So here I am with my face crying. He put his hand on her shoulder and assured her not to be afraid. Send the message to your father immediately. General Kaysen. Tell them they have to move the headquarters. Moving into the depths of the land now. Take immediate action. I hear that. Moving deep inland Sao. But our mermaid nation. For hundreds of years, they lived in the sea. They know how to provoke. But you have to seriously explain. I know people are leaving the sea. But the chairman factor is getting more and more serious. The situation is only getting more dire. I can't hold my breath. Now move. The Han dynasty will not pay any price. Rescue of the fish people. The remix is no longer available. She looked up at him with determined eyes. I know, young man. I contacted my father. Han dynasty, it will forever be our unwavering support. You said that, and you left. Go ahead and nod your head. As soon as you leave. Someone else went to the announcement. Your Majesty has news from the detective. In the room, sitting motionless in a chair, Mina asked the young master anxiously. What's going on? Maybe the president's element has a new problem. Sei Feng hesitantly replied, not yet, but the headquarters of the mermaid. Because the cold wave hit a heavy 7. That the intelligence network of Fabro and Tazilla. He also encountered serious attacks. Everyone was shocked to hear this news. Yufei comments, see Ra. Someone wants to be the president this time. To do something. Nicola asked. Two wizards talking about encirclement and entanglement. It's already started. Save the seal. No, the world is changing very quickly. We can't be optimistic. That's why we need people's power. I hear that everyone is excited. Master, that's not necessary to say. You need to do whatever you're told. Your nun will also try to deliver it to us. Young Master Liu Feng said with a smile. I'm going to try to find a lot of scientific and technical material to dance Phi. You and your father don't have to worry about anything. Just hang the science and technology tree. Faster grip more firmly. The military equipment is stronger. If you hear that, hold your hand confidently. It doesn't matter. Talk about research. No one can beat me and my father. She continued to assign her duties. Take over the job for Ellie. The nun was a little surprised at first, but I also received it quickly. Ellie points to herself, wondering why I am. To remind Ellie of her. The most important thing now is to rest. The elemental power on you just woke up. It's the new trump card in our hands. Listen, Ellie immediately agreed. He looked up at Mina and told her about Mina. Come with me to entertain the two old wizards. Later in the room, the two magicians. Both eyes are open and their mouths are screaming. What? Can carry these science and technology products? Give us SAO. Liu Feng replied, laughing. I see you two are really into science and technology. Take these as gifts for a meeting. And Rich Shaman took back the image that seriously asked. Save your majesty. I also consider myself someone who has experienced a lot. With this tempting offer, what do you want us to do? The wind doesn't hide it. I hope you can help me. The Han dynasty is in need of people. Two people like us need not equal cooperation. The doctor protested to me. This can't be. Your Majesty, the truth hates us. Not let you finish. Lao Feng shrugged his shoulders regretfully and said, It's not easy for you to agree. Mina in the back covered her mouth and laughed. That's right, young master. Capital to open powers. Visit the research center for them. When you hear this, what do you both get excited about? And Rich was excited to say that. If we cooperate, we can to visit the place of scientific and technical research. Sao. Tuesday couldn't hide his curiosity. You can even talk to the architect there. It creates a fire of thought. It's like a dream. You don't date, you bang each other's hands and celebrate. I know you two agree to negotiate. So make that decision. A little cooperation agreement. Come here to see again, Ho Khan and R. Go back to being serious. Your Majesty, we have already celebrated 7 feasts. Although we want to agree. But save your Majesty. The truth of hatred never participated in the struggle of the secular. He looked at the two people and laughed. So what if? If I can help you get to the truth, why? You both hear this. Immediately look dazed at you. He put his hand in front and laughed. Latest science and technology, large-size X-ray machine. Underrich and Tozensi look surprised. Open your mouth and look. Then he turned to call out Mina. Mina quickly replied yes. Mina immediately went to the X-ray machine. Put your hands on the machine. Ender killed the question and said aloud, These views are probably not prime particles. When I heard that, I said no wrong. This machine can visualize the elemental particles that the naked eye can't see. How can you directly observe at the same time? Do I have to go one step further on the way to find the truth? Underig seemed excited to hear this. This is beyond imagination. Tozensi constantly exclaims that. This machine, it's a new milestone on the way to truth. You can also change the test object here. Can be directly converted into recorded observation. Too convenient to be ahead of this situation. Mina and Liu Feng looked at each other helplessly. Then save the wind and turn it off immediately. See that. Please tell me why Android is closed. I haven't finished watching it yet. Tozensi continued the words of your majesty. Let's take a look. When he heard that, he laughed. What is such a condition? There's enough cooperation between the Chinese. Rain and truth. No hatred. Listen to this old man under. Zix and Jenny suddenly stopped their eyes. Look at each other. Then Tozensi and Rich Countenance said sternly. Your Majesty, we understand. The conditions you set. That's what the truth needs. We will replace the Han dynasty to clarify the situation. Collaboration into collaboration. I heard that, and the wind is too good. Well, that depends on you too. Then Rich immediately activated the force, he said. I now spread the news of the truth of hatred. I just pulled out a paper crane that immediately appeared. Then, Rich let the paper crane fly to communicate here. He whispered to Tai Mina that, give orders to the king's guard. Go ahead and bury the bullets in the palace. Mina immediately nodded and said yes. At this point in my mind that the first step succeeded. In front of the worst situation. It's the truth that hatred refuses to cooperate. But I want to get the science and technology. Do your own. The blueprints put the detonator down. And if an enemy with great power comes in here, the answer is explosion. Cancel the research. Let everything here disappear with the enemy. If the time comes, there's only one way to get them back to Earth. Suddenly, the paper crane caught fire. And Rich is screaming. Here's the interrupted transmission. From Jensi goes on. The president's element is not stable enough, of course. And Rich put his hand on his beard and continued. Watch out. Still have to go to full speed Kai-I to investigate the matter. Go like that. How do I go? During this time, Tozensi stay here protect this machine. Tozensi can answer as soon as he hears it. After the discussion is over, the two of them started together. Ellie woke up here. The tired expression on Ellie's face was evident. You said there's been a feeling lately. It feels like there's a strange power. Mobility in the body. Just finished, Ellie immediately used the force. Control pen and paper. The pen began to write every line on the paper. See that? The astonished man picked up the paper and read it. Not bad, Ellie. The current operation is more accurate than before. It's complicated, and the answer is accurate. Ellie replied Blue with a proud face. Even though I'm a wizard. Studying the transformation of power. It's my job. I hear that. Happy saving Wind hands up cuddling Ellie's head. He laughed too well. Before this action, Ellie was helpless and didn't know what to say. Suddenly, Mina and Vaya entered the room. And they laughed and said, Your relationship is as good as it seems. The captain hurriedly asked, So, are the results of the element test there? Tozensi replied hurriedly, Congratulations, Your Majesty. These two women have awakened the generation. In just a few short days, the Han dynasty had 10 people get full speed power. This is not a SAO miracle. Ellie was surprised and asked again. This is very rare. Just finished. I'm in a hurry, of course. even if it's the outside world. Who have elemental forces of interaction? Not more than 1,000th. Who can activate elemental power? Not more than 1,000. Then Tozensi pointed at Ellie and continued. Just like you guys. Tozensi turned to look at Vaya continue. Focus on waking up. It's a wonder of the world we're talking about. Tozensi was so excited that he hugged his head with his hands. I can't hold my emotions. I hear that. I said, I don't have a real feeling. But being praised like that embarrassed me. Jenny was quick to say yes. Hear this Tozensi like crazy. The old man shouted. This is the power that truth cherishes Sao. It's too versatile. Jenny hands up to feel. Then you go on. But there's really no real feeling. I was suddenly told I was a talented person. Just picked one. People like me, it's clear how to use this power. I don't know. I hear that. Tozensi immediately took Jenny's hand and watched. He was exasperated and exasperated. Don't worry. I will teach you myself. The guy standing next to me saw that. He startled and screamed loudly, don't move your feet. I hear that. Tozensi put his hand over his mouth for a few hours. And then he said, excuse me, your majesty, it is the 7th ceremony. Probably in front of the Han dynasty. Just me, that can lead new wizards to wake up. Human resources precious element. Much more rare than you think. Few people wake up every year. It is as strong as the truth. Every year except for new members, not more than 1,000 people, just a few short days. Han dynasty has appeared 10 new people. I'm afraid this rare talent is going the wrong way. That's why I beg you to ordain me. Give them to me to lead. I'll definitely use it to the best of my ability, activate their potential. When I heard that, Liu Feng smiled and said, I understand, Tozensi, this is for you. After the discussion is over, the Lord and the Lord immediately shook hands. Ellie, Vaya, and Jenny shouted together. We will train well. When he heard that, he laughed. You cannot overdo it and sleep again, Ellie. Heard that, Ellie shouted angrily. This time it was unplanned. Suddenly from outside the door, the gatekeeper came running in. Hurry to report your majesty. Followers of the goddess of ice and snow are gathering to cause trouble. They don't stop screaming. The punishment of the goddess is coming. I hear that. He calmly replied, Don't panic, take me to see it. Then save the wind and ask you to listen clearly. His eyes fixed on him. Keep your eyes on the front. Stand on high. They stood silently watching every single one of them. Most of the followers of the goddess of ice and snow. Below, followers of the snow and ice goddess hold up signs. On the sign that says, God's punishment. He died in the snow forever, he shouted. God punishment. The curse of the goddess of ice is about to fall. Then, followers of the snow and ice goddess point their hands forward and said that the emperor refused to sacrifice the living. The cold wave will not be repulsed. This disaster continues to come. If you don't believe it, don't regret it. The wrath of the ice goddess. You mortals can't stop it. When the people heard these words, they were astonished. They started talking about it. Then the followers of the goddess of ice and snow raised their hands. He shouted out, the snow will keep falling until this place becomes 1,000 miles of ice. Just like the beginning, the Snow Queen wiped out the animal kingdom. The Han dynasty is about to disappear on the map. I saw the name of the goddess of snow and ice making a mess. The soldiers came. Facial expression. Order a gathering to cause trouble to the people. Make him disperse. Don't fall in love with him. And the man says back to you,